What is your red flag in a woman or man when you're in the early stages of dating? When I feel like I have to initiate every single contact between us, and if I don't, we simply won't talk that day. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Since it's come up a lot, I should clarify, it's not a requirement to actually talk every single day, but the overall point is no matter how frequently we talk, I don't want to feel like I'm always the one that has to start the conversation. When a friend told me she's cheated on every boyfriend she ever had. Yay, but she cares about me, bro. Spoiler, she did not. Lack of straightforward communication. Being flaky with communication and/or meeting up. To an extent, life can and will get in the way, but there's a certain level of enthusiasm you want to see from a potential partner, and if they can't muster it during the honeymoon stage of dating, it's probably not going to improve later. Yelling. My pop was a yeller, as is my brother. Sends me into immediate panic. I like girls who are physically affectionate, but my ex was so clingy she had her gay friends visit the gay bar I worked at to make sure I wasn't flirting with girls. Straight bartender at a 99% male gay bar. Got jealous about every single call you received, even when it was from your family members. Accusing you of cheating with that whore you're on the phone with, even though that whore was your dad. They ended up being a major cheater in the end. The one that raises straight away for me is if they talk bad or down on others, even people they don't know, and it's merely off how they look or dress. Oversteps boundaries too quickly. Pushy, tells you what to do, invasive questions. Went way too clingy. My ex told me he loved me 2 days after we were dating, wanted to meet my family after 3 days, called my cat our son, constantly planned our future and how our kids would look like and our wedding, and I'm smart enough to know when to nip this shit in the bud. If all their exes are crazy or assholes. I've got a few normal exes that due to life circumstances on one side or the other, or both, didn't work out. I've got a few that we just weren't long-term compatible. And like most, I do have a couple that are, at least they were different kinds, batshit crazy. But if all their exes are jerks, it most likely means that they are the jerk. The two crazies I dated both spoke this way about all their former relationships. Refers to herself as a bitch or a crazy bitch. Blowing up my phone at 2 in the morning is a big one for me. I don't mind so much if it's 1 or 2 messages late at night, so long as they obviously know most people are asleep around then, but if I wake up to like a dozen or so texts where they're growing increasingly mad that I'm not responding, it's a red flag. Playing head games. We're not in high school, and you aren't on The Bachelorette. Be honest, sincere, and forthcoming, and we'll get along just fine. I'm in my mid-30s, and thus am too old and rickety to jump through hoops. If they aren't willing to compromise on things, or they think their time is more precious than yours. My ex lived about 30 minutes away from me. I always met at his place or his town for stuff, be never the other way around because he was too tired. It got under my skin because he literally was a 5-minute drive from his job, and I already averaged about 90 miles a day for work alone. So I'd drive for work, go home and then drive to his place. One day he tried rushing me out of our morning yoga class that ran over time, like got really uptight about it, so he wouldn't be late for work, still 5 minutes away. Meanwhile I was gonna have at least a 25 minutes commute to get to my job and wasn't that worried about it. I broke things off for other reasons, but that one really buttered my rolls because I dealt with it every day. Speaking from my experience from my one relationship I've had so far that was abusive, distrust. If the person is suspicious you are a cheater on no basis other than their own insecurity, run. Run please. Save yourself the heartache and degradation. When they dodge answering questions or cut you off when you're talking, I give them a pass the first time because it might be nerves, but if it keeps happening it's not okay. I dated a guy for 2 months that flat out told my dad, we started dating just before my birthday so they met for a birthday dinner. He wanted to get me pregnant so he could lock me in. I then found out he had a separate life when his other girlfriend found my phone number on my business page. Someone who compliments you way too much. This might sound weird because of course everyone likes being complimented, but when I'm talking to you about something serious I don't want to hear sorry I couldn't concentrate, you're so beautiful, or wow I haven't heard a word you said, cause all I want to do is kiss you all the damn time. This sort of clues me in that yeah I am pretty but you've put me on such a high pedestal that you can't see me as anything less than a goddess, and I want to be in a relationship, not worshipped, because you have a weird fetish, if that makes any sense. A lack of self-awareness. I once dated a guy who told 2 anecdotes of funny clusterfuck situations. Both featured clear moments where the fault was his lack of research, his failure to follow through. But both stories were told like everyone else caused the issues. Like, where you'd expect haha so yeah I should have done X. He would just say so Milo was an idiot and jumped. A week later and it was clear, he didn't see he was the common denominator in his issues. He was quick to blame others. Any suggestion of self-improvement was met by a blank stare. A touch of humility, and a lot of self-awareness, is so necessary. Sending nudes or videos of herself getting hit from the back, 15 minutes into yours very first conversation ever. Yeah, very specific. I know. Continually posting bits of our relationship on social media. I'm dating the person, not their fan club. I knew this one girl who, on our first and only date, just would not shut up about how heartbroken she was that David Bowie had died 2 days ago. Every time I would try to steer the conversation elsewhere, she would say, oh yeah, that reminds me of the time David did XYZ. At first it was endearing, but it got annoying really quickly. And that was the end of that. I still sometimes wonder if I had caught her at a different time, if things would have gone differently. Acting super uncomfortable or grossed out when I mention my period. When the girl doesn't have any desire to develop her own life/career/passions. I want someone that I know that has a drive to go in life on her own and find her own happiness. Asking where I am, who I'm with, what I'm doing constantly. Sure, it's just a question now, but in 5 months it's not being allowed to be certain places with certain people. Controlling behavior is the biggest red flag there is. Shut that shit down immediately. Them, do you need some space? I understand. You, yeah I just need to get my head straight a second. Them, wow so you don't wanna talk to me? In retrospect. Attraction to an archetype of a person. In my case, I came to realize that he liked every woman with a similar color of skin. By the end I wonder if he actually thought I was beautiful, or if he just fetishized all black women. Accusing me of cheating, despite me never cheating, with no indications that I had or would ever do such a thing. Repeating the same stories over and over. He ruminated on ways the world had wronged him, or situations where he saw himself as a hero. Forgetting important details. My birthday, our wedding anniversary. Put-downs. Making blanket statements that holidays were stupid, thus negating my love of any holiday and implying that I was stupid for enjoying them. Same with music and movies. Viewing himself as a martyr in almost every situation. Fixation on topics that I found disturbing. Inability to compromise. He wanted what he wanted, when he wanted it. Otherwise, he would refuse to participate or engage. He or she plays Minesweeper. Red flags everywhere, run quickly. First date and the woman kept calling me daddy. She didn't stop when I asked her to either. Being rude to service workers. Making a fuss about payment. On a first date, I prefer to pay for myself. I'm just more comfortable with that. If my date gets angry/offended about that, it's a good indication that we won't be compatible. Constantly complaining about exes/the other gender. Such a turn off. Checking smartphone too much. Started off with, "You look better without makeup." Then, "Why are you wearing those shorts? What is that shit on your face, when I did wear makeup? Can't you respect me by not wearing heels?" Question mark. I don't understand why I didn't see these. Aggressive jealousy. When they start complaining about other people in your life and trying to get you to see how bad these people are for you, etc., when they aren't doing any messed up to you to begin with. This is not about truly abusive people who are hurting you and a loved one wants you to leave them. Witness my abusive ex who started in the second week of dating telling me how much my parents didn't love me or trust me for having a curfew and insist I study on school nights instead of be out with him all night. I was 17 and still in high school. Soon enough that extended to how my best friend was kind of dismissive of me. He pounced on every little disagreement I had to blow it up times 10. Man, if it was someone else in my life, he was in there trying to drive that wedge and make me see how all those other people really didn't have my best interests at heart. Here's where I learned all about a little something called projection. If she develops a pet name for you, like Squirrel, and then proceeds to talk to you the entire time in a high-pitched girl squirrel voice on the way home so that you can put your phone down next to you and then pick it up 20 minutes later and she is still talking. And she's batshit crazy. I went on a date earlier this weekend, and it ended up being not so grand. Here's a quick list of things that made me go walked straight past bouncer at the bar asking for ID. Straight up ignored him. Had to be pulled back outside to be carded. Ordered most expensive item on the menu without reading what it was. Ended up not liking it and passing it off to me. Then took my meal without asking. I paid for the meal. This is cool, I don't mind, but I do like to have at least a conversation about it first. She excused herself when the bill came. Went to an arcade after the bar. I got a bunch of quarters, as one does, and she holds her hand out silently while she stands next to one of those vending machines that serves stickers and fortunes and whatnot. I think fine, it's cool, give her like $1. She does it 5 times, then ends up giving me 1 quarter left and saying you can get that one. Pointing to a joke one. Like, okay? Thanks. Got a beer for myself and asked her if she wanted a drink. She ordered an AMF, like 3 times the price of a normal cocktail. Then she didn't even drink most of it, she handed it off to someone when we left not long after, because she wanted to go dancing. I'm driving to the area where the club's at, and she's giving me shit for following traffic rules and whatnot. I ignore it. I begin needing to take a leak really bad, and I am having an impossible time finding parking, so I say I'm going to find a restaurant or something to use the restroom. I stop by an IHOP and they turn me away as it's for customers only and it's like 1 in the morning. Fine, fair enough. Then she lays into me about how I should have said I would order after and dip out. I'm like, that's really rude. Definitely not doing that sort of thing. Then she just goes whatever, find a bush or something. I skipped that suggestion and found a cool convenience store with a nice cashier. It's approaching 2 a.m., the club is going to close, and she is still saying we need to get into the club. I haven't found anywhere to safely put my car, I'm not walking half a mile to dance for 10 minutes, so I say I'm sorry, but I think I would rather just hang out somewhere quiet. She sulks and says fine, whatever. End up listening to her talk about anime for like half an hour before taking her home. She wasn't a great person, either. She's a Twitch streamer, and apparently she's known in a Discord she uses as the villain, basically shit-talking anyone she can and belittling people for fun. She laughed about how she made a heroin addict dance naked. I was appalled. So yeah. That was a fun, and expensive, night.